dock block, I guess. It's a 4x5 aluminum tube, about 4.5 foot wide, 30 foot long. When I get done, I saw some hedge boards put on it. Kind of take a few videos as we go along. Yeah, we just.
Well, I'm supposed to be in it.
No, I'm just gonna. So there it is, 30 foot long and what is it, 4.5 foot wide, basically. Put some end caps on it and just left a little bit so if there ever gets water, it can drain out of either end, which it's never gonna really be in the water. It'll be sitting up on the pontoon dock or the dock floats. Anyway, get back to it later. Alright, I did buy a couple used pontoons. This one's a 2x4, and that one's a 4x8, 16 inches thick. This one here had a hole where they'd welded by it, burning it. So this is kind of the worst part. It wasn't that bad, but I took some of that plastic and heated it and dripped it and melted it. And I think I got the hole fixed, but I just went ahead and put a little silicone over the top of it just in case. But I don't think I'll ever have to worry about it. It was sitting outside. It didn't have any water in it anyway, so should never get waves or nothing up on it. So anyway, that's the ones I'm going to use. Put this big one out on the end and this one here back closer to the bank. I think they'll work all right. So back to the dock. I got everything done, put together. So I got a, let's see, that's a 2x4x16 float. Used, picked up cheap. I just bolted it directly through with galvanized bolts through that 5-inch aluminum tube. And I got some cross bracing. Like I said before, we're going to cut some hedge on the sawmill for the flooring. And then on the end that goes out in the water, this is a 4x8x16. Same thing, just bolted it down with carriage bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess there's 5 of them. But then I was going to show you real quick. So then the way that's the pond, out the pond in. This is where we're going to attach it to the bank. We're just going to float it out there. Figure how we can get it to fit over here to the rocks. The best, there's the 2 pipes sticking up out there. You can probably see that later when we try to do the install. But I just made these kind of a. So my plan is stainless steel rod, piece of pipe. I'll go through here with a nylon block nut and spin that down. Put one on each side where we get it where we want it. I've got some pipe that's going to fit right through there. That's like 9 foot long. Take a skid steer and just stick it through here, and we'll just drive those in the ground. And then if the water level changes, then this, it can obviously just could just spin with the angle of the water level, I guess. So that's how I'm going to anchor towards on the bank side. I don't know if it'll work, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try that. So back to the dock pier build. I decided now to add some, because I already had this angle. It's like a 3x5 angle. I decided to add it in down the middle, because obviously my boards are going to be running crossways, and I don't have to cut maybe quite as thick of boards. I'm going to use hedge and saw them on the sawmill and just put them down all the way down through there, and then you can probably get by with not quite as thick of boards. And then in the middle, I'm afraid that when they dry, because I'm going to screw them on green, and I know they're going to twist, and some will want to go up and some will go down, so maybe this will just kind of keep them more secure. But then I even took the plasma cutter and notched out around where the floats go, just in case I didn't want that angle or anything rubbing maybe later on those floats. So see how it goes from there. Do the head block. Soften the flooring. just want to show you this camp. This is one of the best camps of hedge cut for sure. It's like 7 inches by 8.5 inches. Man, that thing is just clear. That's some good lumber right there for hedge. All right, so we're starting to put the decking down with we're just using these deck screws. I know they'll probably rust, but this is hedge and aluminum. I'm gonna say it's gonna be many years before we have to ever replace one. If we do, we'll just cut them off and drill a new hole. But this is how we're going. So we got we're just trying to find out how many more logs we got to get. So that's, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking we got about half enough boards right now of hedge, but we're just gonna bring them down and center them best we can and rip off the bad parts at the end. And like I said, it's aluminum and hedge. I don't know, it should last a long time. We'll see. Okay, so now I'm just gonna, I've almost got all the hedge deck boards put on. I got to a point now where I'm gonna have to, so what I'm gonna do is, obviously, I think I probably already said, there is 2 pipe we've already pushed that's in the pond that's gonna go on that end. I've made, so these brackets is what I'm gonna use for these. So once I'm gonna have to end up taking about 5 feet of those boards off to get it in between the pipes, floated out there. And once we get it floated out there, we'll just slip these brackets over the pipe. And then obviously on that end, it's just it'll get bolted, a couple 4.5-inch bolts, and the pipe's so that the water level, it can move up and down with the water on the pipe. Those brackets. And then I didn't know what to really do up here, how to attach it to the bank, and I'm gonna try this. I think it'll work, but I just it's basically like a big eye bolt. So it's gonna go through here. Got a washer on each side. Then I got a locking nut. It's gonna go on this side, tightened up. That way, this end here can pivot if the water level, raises or falls. This can basically slide. And I got a good piece of pipe here that obviously it's just gonna take the skid steer and push it, get right where we want it, and I'll just push these pipe down. And then if that eye bolt obviously is not gonna be tight, it can just pivot with the rise and fall of the water level, and this should be able to just float up and down with the water with that. And like I said, this is that's basically what this is, stainless steel. And for some people, I know most people probably know this, but I don't know, I found a lot of people don't know this. But if it's really stainless steel, a magnet will not stick to stainless steel. So this is stainless rod. This piece here, this pipe is obviously steel, and the magnet sticks to it. So if it's really stainless, magnet will not stick to it. So just a little FYI. And then, like I said, once we get that installed, then we'll go back. I'm just going to snap a line down each side and cut all these boards off. And then once we get it to the pond, we'll put it in the pond, float it to where we want it. And yeah, just take the skid steer and push the pipe in. I think it'll be fine. If it's not, then I'll think of something else later, how to anchor it. But there's not a lot of wind that's going to get in there, especially not a lot of waves, so I think it'll be fine. And I think with the hedge and the aluminum frame, I think it's going to last. The hedge will almost last as much as aluminum, I guess. So either way, that's what we're going to do. So I'll get back to when we put it in the pond, actually. So stay tuned. Okay, so I just put a round over bit, and I'm just gonna go around the edges just in case, you know, I don't know, it takes off that sharp. You're gonna just maybe sit on this thing with your legs hanging in the water. Just kind of round it off a little bit.
I think so, because you don't have a seal around it, do you? So between your metal and that float, you're probably getting water in it.
Taking a water. I think it's just literally, it's just got enough buoyancy. But this thing don't even act like it floats at all. But we're gonna have to try to take that end first. So I take it along the bank and try to let's see if we're gonna be able to even angle the sucker in there, you know. There'd be more sticks in there. We cleaned them all out. Now go ahead and start angling your end out towards those between those.
Yeah, honestly, it's not doing too bad. You just have a second. If you just have a second float, I think it's still all right.
Yeah.
It's floating all right. I mean, it might retain a little bit of water.
It's definitely trying to float because I can pick up on it.
No, as I said, that angle, you're losing.
Hmm. Anymore.
One more.
Almost there. Here we go.
Ready? What?
Nope.
Oh, what do you want to do?
Okay, go now.
Which if you just
All right, so I don't know how much we got videoed yesterday, but obviously when we put it in, I should have known this, and I don't know, just wasn't thinking. Actually, I thought that this is a 2x4x16 float, and I kind of thought this thing here would be maybe touching the pond, but the bottom, but it's not. It's definitely floating, and it's but down on this end is a 4x8x16. Wasn't even thinking about it, but when that thing's out there floating, it's putting all the weight back on this end, and of course this end didn't have enough, and it wanted to sink this end. So I just got another. This is a 4x4. So now we should have, with that one, a 4x6. It should be plenty to float this end too. So just to kind of give you an idea of what we're doing, and just got to get it up and bolt it in, and then hopefully it floats, and it should, but we'll see.
should be able to, I think.
Gotta get past the nipples. I'm hoping now this is above that rock. We don't have to pick that end up. So you keep, you stay up there. Okay.
Close.
Yeah, we got it. There it went. Oh, hell yeah. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. So right there's where we need it. And we just need it to make sure that it clears if it goes down. It clears that rock, that this doesn't, catch on it. Hell yeah.
About perfect.
God, we really need some of you. Are you still videoing? All right, well, that's it. So we're good there.
Yeah, you never want to come my way. That's pretty good. Because as you push down, you can drop forward.
All right, so we got it done. So
Got it done.
it ought to be good. So just had to do a little. It's not that big of a deal. Probably like a 10-inch step up with the water level the way it is. Probably just gonna leave it like that. Probably not gonna try to get a wheelchair up here or anything. So VB, what do you think? All right.